Today on Down to the Wire.
James Reimer? I thought he was okay. Just okay.
Just okay? The Leafs' ups and downs continue as the regular season winds down. Today is Friday, March 21st, 2014. I'm Shawn and Andrés, this is Andrés, and this is episode 12 of Down to the Wire. And, well, the struggles continue in Leafland as, I guess, goaltending controversies begin to uprise.
Definitely the focus right now is on James Reimer, his fairly recent play with Bernier, getting that groin injury against the Kings a couple weeks ago. But first, before we talk about the goaltending, let's take a step back, look at the Leafs' current position. There's 11 games left in the season. They're currently 6th in the conference. They're the best wildcard spot right now. But that said, even though they're still right there in the tight playoff run, they've dropped quite a bit in the last week. On Sunday, they were 3rd in the Eastern Conference. They were 2nd in the division. They were looking really good. And then after that Bernier injury, just stuff fell apart for the Leafs. They've now lost 3 straight. And, Reimer taking a lot of the heat because he's the one in net. But, that's not where all the Leafs' troubles are. There's definitely way more issues than just the goaltending. In fact, the goaltending is what's been holding this team together. It's one of the main reasons that the Leafs are in such a good spot right now, or were at least until the past week.
The defensive play for the Leafs all season long has been just atrocious, and they just haven't been able to solve that problem. Bringing Tim Gleason in, he's provided some support, but not enough. The Leafs did not make a move at the trade deadline, which could be a very big mistake if they don't make the playoffs this year, because they need that defensive push which can provide backbone support for guys like Dion Phaneuf. And, we have tons of young players, Jake Gardiner, Morgan Riley, on the blue line that just aren't defensive. You see them jumping into the rush game in and game out. And that's really biting the Leafs as, against the Detroit Red Wings, for example. Nyquist, 2 breakaways. The game winner in Detroit was a 2-on-1. How do you expect Reimer to keep up to that? And then all the blame's coming on him. The coach, unfair to him, saying that he was just okay. It's an unfair critic, and Carlisle, first of all, should not be going there with the goaltending. He should not be saying that your goaltender is just okay. Blame your defense, not your goaltender, because Reimer's getting no support. They're hanging him out to dry. Every single start Reimer's played, I've mentioned it before, and I'll say it again, they're just hanging him out to dry, and it's not fair for James Reimer. And if they don't step it up in the last 11 games, this can get really ugly real quick.
Bernier was back in practice today. It's it's not out of the question that he might get the start against Montreal. But you know what? They have to have confidence in both of their goalies. They're not appreciating what they have. The Leafs, before the game against Tampa, were 4th in the league in save percentage, and like I said, that's one of the things that's been holding this team together. And Reimer's part of that, but Reimer's not getting enough confidence. They've made Bernier number 1. Bernier's numbers have been better this season. Reimer's numbers are a little bit down from last season, but that's no reason to kind of, label Reimer as the backup and not appreciate his talent. Since January, he's only played in 8 games. He's only played 5 full games out of those 8. He's been pulled in 3 of them. And he's just, like you were saying, it's the defense's fault. In the game against Detroit, like you were saying, 3 of those 5 goals were basically breakaways. He had no chance on that last one. So it's completely unfair for Carlisle to say what he did. And, it's really frustrating as a fan. And, luckily, you don't hear Leafs fans placing all the blame on Reimer. It's just surprising that Carlisle is the one calling him out. And, I guess Carlisle has been used to better goaltending. He's always had great goalies to work with. But Reimer's not a bad goalie at all. So, the Leafs have been allowing more shots than anyone in the league all season long. It's rare for the Leafs to outshoot any team in this season. It's incredible, how bad their defensive work has been. So Reimer needs to get a lot more credit, and I hope he's back next season. The Leafs need him. But right now, the way things are going, you wonder if Reimer is going to want to still be here come September or October, right?
That's a good point. Let's bring up stats for a second. Reimer last season 9.924 save percentage, and Bernier this season 0.925. There's not much of a difference from this season and last season in terms of the starting goaltenders. And the funny thing is, I've heard Vezina talks about Jonathan Bernier, and his save percentage is 0.925. Reimer 0.924. There was no Vezina talks about James Reimer last season, and it's funny how I've seen a bunch of Bernier fans blowing up Twitter when Reimer's in net, saying that it's always Reimer's fault whenever they lose. What about when Bernier loses? Is it always his fault? No, because that's when the Bernier fans blame the defense. But when James Reimer's in it, no one's blaming the defense. Against Tampa Bay, I forgot to bring this up, but Stamkos left open 4 times. Out of those 4 times, he scores 3 of them. You can't leave a guy like Steven Stamkos open and expect him to not to score. Even though you can have the world-class goalie in net, and Steven Stamkos is going to put the puck in the back of the net. I do want to see James Reimer back next season, but as much as he loves it here in Toronto, he wants to be a starting goaltender. He's mentioned it before. And I feel like he deserves more respect. And as much as I want to see him here next season, I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves. And I'd be happy if he leaves and is appreciated in the team that he's at and gets the starts. And honestly, I said it a bunch of times, and if James Reimer by any chance gets traded next season and goes against the Leafs, I hope he proves them wrong. I hope that he makes them regret the way he's been treated, because remember, he's the one that brought this team to the playoffs last year, and he almost got them past Boston if it wasn't for that breakdown defensively again against Boston in Game 7. They would have been past Boston into the second round because of James Reimer and his unbelievable play last season. Then they bring in Jonathan Bernier, and he knows he's going to be the backup because Jonathan Bernier was a better goalie. He's projected to be the better goalie. And you can argue that all you want. Jonathan Bernier has been amazing this season. I'll give him that. But the treatment of James Reimer is just unfair, and I feel like if he has to get traded, I hope it's to a team that he'll be respected on, and I hope he does well there.
You know, you were talking about Bernier fans. It seems like Carlisle's one of those Bernier fans. I mean, in the games where the Leafs do badly but Bernier starts, Bernier is not pulled immediately. That's been the issue with Reimer in the games that he does start. You know, as soon as they start they see that stuff starts going bad, they pull Reimer. And half the time it's not even his fault. He had an excellent start to the season. Up until Wednesday, he was 13th in the league in save percentage, and this is a backup we're talking about. That he had amazing numbers. He was right behind Mike Smith, and right in front of Henrik Lundqvist. Those are 2 huge goalies. So, you know, like we said, we'll see what happens on is it Saturday against Montreal?
Yep, Saturday against Montreal.
Yeah.
And one more thing I gotta mention, the Leafs schedule is really not helping them right now. You know, Saturday Montreal, then Sunday New Jersey, then Tuesday St. Louis. The schedule is not helping them. This is the second back-to-backs. Like, it's crazy how the schedule is. Carlisle brought that up, but the Leafs can't use that as an excuse. Hopefully they get Bernier back, because clearly the team plays better in front of him for some reason. Or, you know, it's just Bernier getting lucky, or the team playing better in front of him. More confidence in front of Bernier, I guess. But that's just unfair. They should have confidence in James Reimer, and the struggles continue. Hopefully they turn it around quickly, because we would all like to see the Leafs in the playoffs again this year. If it doesn't happen, that would be huge. And something's going to happen. If Reimer doesn't leave, Carlisle might leave this season if they don't make the playoffs. So
it's really close with only 11 games, but let's hope that this change that we're looking for happens sooner rather than later, because you don't want to end up in that wild card spot, especially with Boston winning the division for sure. If the Leafs make the playoffs and they don't, you know, they just make it in, they might get Boston again. They would prefer to get Tampa. I mean, that's not a much better team to get.
I would love to get Montreal.
You would rather take that. Well, in order to get Montreal, you'd need the Leafs and the Canadiens to finish second and third.
Yeah, in the division.
So we'll see how that plays out. But the main thing right now is the Leafs making the playoffs at all. And for that to happen, they need to stop this losing streak that they're on right now, and get their goaltending together, start having confidence, working as a team. So hopefully that happens soon.
I think they will make the playoffs. I don't know, being optimistic. Don't press the panic button just yet, Leaf fans. And hopefully, if you're a James Reimer fan, he is your next year's season. That's it for us today. We'll be back next week.
Yep.
With the episode on soccer. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and like our Facebook page. See you.